Okay, so in this video, we are going to review the similarities and differences with futures and forwards. I think this is going to be a review because we already learned about this when we learned about transactions. So let's go back to the topic. So first about similarities. Well, futures and forwards are similar in the sense that they are a contract that is a commitment, and this is key for forwards and futures. When you sign a future or a forward, you force yourself, it's an obligation, you can't say no, to buy or sell something in the future. So it's different to options because in options, you have the choice. We're going to learn that in later, but in here, in forwards and futures, you are forced to do that, okay? And then the other important thing that's very relevant is that it will happen in the future. The exchange of the asset will happen in the future. I think it's pretty obvious because the name already says future or forward, but it's important that you remember that. And then remember, I think we already learned this from the transactions class. So you need to set a price. It's very important. You need to set that when you sign the price, the quantity, the asset, the date, of course, when are you going to exchange this, and the place where are you going to exchange the things. So you need to set these 5 things, and it's an obligation. That is the main thing. You are forced to buy or sell. I think here in the presentation is a bit wrong because it says the commitment to purchase, but it should say the commitment to purchase or sell, or so buy or sell. We're going to learn that when we practice in the next video. So those are the similarities. Then the differences. I think you also remember this. The forwards, the first thing that is different from future is that forwards are customized. This means that in futures are standardized. Futures are only being sold a certain amount, and they have a certain maturity. So for instance, if do you remember that when we talk about this in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the maturity for foreign currencies, futures are always on the 17th day of the month or the next following working day. And in forwards, it's not like that. In forwards, you can set whatever you want. If you want to buy $23, you can even make a forward for $23. Or if you want to exchange the asset on the 5th of the month, it's okay, you can do it. So I think the example that I give you is like, future is like buying a suit in Zara or Hugo Boss, where you go to a store and you buy what they have. And a forward is like buying a suit from a tailor. He will do whatever you need. If you need, I don't know, longer, I don't know, like if you have like a weird body and you have long arms, they can fix it for you, and in the store it will be difficult. So it also gives a hint of who would like to use a forward and who would like to use a future. So I think if you have really different needs, you will be using forwards because you will have what you want, and in futures it's standardized. So it's more like if you're okay with what the market has. Then the next difference is like forwards are traded between individuals, in this case banks. It is called over-the-counter because over-the-counter is outside of a proper market, and futures are the opposite. Futures are traded in markets. Do you remember for Mexico is the MEXDER, and for the US is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Those are markets where you are going to buy and sell futures. And in forwards, it's different. In forwards, you can trade them anywhere. Then the other difference is that when you sign a forward, you don't have to pay anything in advance. So you just sign and you wait until the end. But with futures, no. With futures, remember that when your position in your future is winning getting some profits, or if you are losing some money, every day the market is going to take that gain or loss. It's going to take that, or it's going to give you that. And where to the market take that money from, where from the margin that you pay at the beginning, that is the 4 difference. Remember that when you buy a future, you have to pay a deposit that is called the margin. So if you pay your deposit to get into that position and then you wait some time, if in the next day your contract loses a lot of money, then you might lose all of your margin, and they will call you and say, you know what, you're about to lose your margin, so you need to pay more, you need to increase your deposit, otherwise you will get wiped from your position. If you don't answer, you lose your position, but if you answer and you pay, you can stay. And if your contract gains money, then your margin gets higher and higher, and then when you close your position, whenever you want to, until maturity or before, then you take all that margin with you. And in forwards, it's not like that. In forwards, it's different because then you don't have to pay anything. And that means that there is a slight level of risk in there, because maybe even if you sign that and even maybe the other party won't pay, but that is very serious. If someone doesn't pay or doesn't buy whatever they sign in the contract, they can go to jail because they are not dealing with their part of the contract. So it's something very serious. So in general terms, a forward doesn't have any risk, but it has a minor risk because there is not a deposit. And in futures, there is no risk at all because they have the deposit. And if the deposit is gone, then that person won't have that position, and then they will give all the margin to the person who has the contract part. So there is no risk on futures. So this is just a reminder of futures and forwards. We're going to, for the purpose of this class, we're going to practice a very easy, it's very easy, you're going to see, a very easy exercise for futures in which we are going to calculate the value of our position on different assumptions that we will have. So we are going to analyze a contract. I'm going to give you some data, like you're going to buy this with a spot, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to calculate the value of the position in changes of prices. So that will be the next video.